Hey, welcome to the download. What'll it be? Greetings and welcome to the Lowdown at the Down Low. It's a show where we get face-to-face with the talent behind the exciting audio series Heroes of Extinction. I'm your host, Jason Braden, and today I am in the presence of the Dark Lord himself, C. Andrew Nelson. Hello,
Greetings
Andrew.
from the dark side.
Yes, how are you?
I'm doing well.
Great. Thanks for being on the show today.
Oh, I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. Speaking of which, for those who do not know, and I mean, it's hard for me to think that there are those that don't, let's do a little description of why I called you the Dark Lord. Tell me a little bit about your career history, and let's lead up to why you have that particular little nickname.
Well, I am an actor, a visual effects artist, animator, voiceover performer, and genuine Dark Lord of the Sith. I actually spent 12 years playing the character of Darth Vader for Lucasfilm and the Lucas companies, inside that big, hot, sweaty costume for film and television and games and commercials and print ads and magazine covers and toy packaging everywhere the character was needed. But, it's part of my career. I'm also, like I said, a visual effects artist and animator. I spent 6 years at LucasArts designing and creating games there. I was a visual effects supervisor and senior artist. And then I moved over to Industrial Light and Magic, worked on the visual effects for the Star Wars prequels and films like Galaxy Quest and Jurassic Park 3 and a whole bunch more. As I mentioned, I'm a voice actor because I don't think we'd be even talking on here about this if I wasn't a voice actor also.
True.
And one of the characters that I voiced over my career was the character of Luke Skywalker for some of the LucasArts games.
Wait. Hold up a second. So you are the Dark Lord,
yes,
but you are also a Jedi Knight.
I am.
This is a little bit backwards. Not everybody gets a chance to play both roles. How was that doing them both? Now, obviously, do you do them both in anything that you've done in the past, like a video game? Were you doing both characters?
No, never
at
the same time for the same project.
Okay.
Yes. No. It's I think the whole fabric of the space-time continuum would fold in on itself if I did that. But no, I voiced the character of Luke for several LucasArts games, and apparently that makes me the first actor to officially portray both Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker. So I am my own father or my own son.
That's a whole nother story right there.
Yes, it is. That's like an episode of the Maury Povich show or something like that. That's you are the father and the son. Well, that's the end of this episode.
Oh, wow.
Years of therapy. I'll be all right. Okay.
I'm guessing you were approached to become Darth Vader while you were at LucasArts, or was it ILM?
Yes. No, I was at LucasArts.
LucasArts. Okay.
It was the summer of 1994. I was sitting at my desk doing my job at LucasArts, minding my own business, and my phone rings. And it's the head of public relations, who was a woman who was upstairs from me. And she doesn't start off the conversation with any pleasantries, not like, hello, how are you, anything like that. She just starts right in with, hey, Andrew, how tall are you? And I thought, that's an odd question. I said, I'm 6'5". Why do you ask? Well, she was about 5'1", and I figured she wanted me to just come upstairs and get something down off a shelf. So then she hits me up with a second question, a follow-up question. She says, do you have any acting experience? And I'm trying to figure out, where is this going? And when you talk to somebody on the phone and you can't see them, but you can almost hear a smile in their voice. That was what I was hearing.
Okay.
So there's something else going on here. And at that point, I'd had about 20, 21, 22 years of theater, film, and television acting experience. And so I told her that. And then she hits me with this. She says, can you breathe for me? And of course,
the story gets deeper.
I had to get rid of all the smart aleck answers, of course, out of my head. But I'm putting the pieces together here, and I'm thinking, okay, how tall are you? Do you have any acting experience? It's a Lucas company. Can you breathe for me? The light bulb goes off, or the lightsaber goes off, and I lean into my phone and I went, so what's going on here? And they were looking for somebody to play Vader for a charity event for Big Brothers Big Sisters of America, sort of a meet and greet so the kids could have their photo taken with Darth Vader. So I went up to Skywalker Ranch to the archives building where everything from every Lucas production is kept, including all the costumes and props and everything. And I tried on the costume. It's the original costume, one of the original costumes. It said D. Prowse on the inside for David Prowse, the original Vader. I tried on the costume. It fit. We did that one event and I thought, oh my gosh, that's a once in a lifetime opportunity. That's never going to happen again. I just thank God I had a chance to do it. But then they called me back for something else and something else and something else. And I ended up playing Vader 70 times over 12 years.
Okay, so wait a second. Is the suit that you wore, it's the actual one that David Prowse donned in the original movies as well?
Yes. There were several of them. I wore quite a few of them. And we did that for about the first 2 years that I was doing Vader. Then they determined that these are kind of, fragile, or what is it that Indiana Jones says? It belongs in a museum.
Right.
So they started taking pieces away from us, but we had made replicas. We made about 18 replicas that all fit me. And that was what we ended up using.
Wow.
So I got down to where I had just the original mask and helmet and the boots.
That was all that was left. Everything else was
finally
new,
took those away, which is too bad because
Okay.
the original boots were much more comfortable than what they gave me. So,
Well, speaking of boots, what was it like to fill those shoes, like just for the very first time?
oh, it's amazing. It's also disorienting because it's an odd feeling to be inside that costume, and it's a very, as Vader would say, impressive, most impressive costume, because most costumes or props or anything like that in a film or television show, they don't look as good in person. They're made to look good on camera. So things might not look exactly as you would hope they would be. The main characters, like the main costume characters from Star Wars, like Vader, 3PO, R2, Chewbacca, those all look perfect in person. They really do. They're just as impressive in person. So I was a little intimidated first putting it on. I was a little bit giddy because it's like, my gosh, this is my favorite film franchise of all time. The reason I got into filmmaking in the first place was Star Wars. And the fact that I'm now wearing the costume of my favorite character from Star Wars, it was intimidating at first. And it's disorienting because, when you first put it on, it's like 17 pieces if you include the lightsaber that's hanging off the belt. And you put it on very slowly because you want to make sure everything is in the right place and everything looks good. And all the cloak and the cape are all hanging properly and the chest box is in the right place. And everything is, looking perfect. And there's no smudges or fingerprints on the helmet. But you get it all on. But that last moment when you're putting on the mask, which comes on from the front, it's open and back, and it comes on from the front, and then the helmet comes down on top over that. And I'm thinking of that moment from Empire Strikes Back where we see a little glimpse of Vader without his helmet on, and that comes on.
Yeah.
and I'm feeling like that, but it gets a little disorienting because the lenses kind of distort your vision a bit. And I was a little wobbly at first, but we did that event and it was like amazing. But then I got used to it after a while. It's blistering hot inside there, I'll tell you that.
Oh, I can imagine.
Yeah. And it's really uncomfortable. I have physical scars from playing Vader.
No kidding.
I won't detail them for you, but I'll just
use the fair word enough.
Chafing. Let's just use the word chafing. Okay?
Sure. Fair enough. You mentioned earlier you did some theater and you've had some. Mm-hmm. Did you have some training? Did you go to school for acting?
Yeah, that's my degree. It was in drama. So I actually started off doing theater when I was 10 years old. My mother had gone back to college and she was trying to get a degree in accounting. And she met a bunch of the drama students and, fell in with the wrong crowd and switched her major over to drama. And they were doing a production of a play. I think it was Henrik Ibsen's Enemy of the People. Okay. And they needed someone to play her 10-year-old son. I happened to be her 10-year-old son. They made me audition for it anyway. I should have been insulted. But I got the part and, I was hooked. Once that got into my bloodstream, it was like, oh my gosh, I just want to act. And then I want to wear costumes. I want to do all this stuff. Then when I found out what they'll pay you to do that. Oh, great. Sign me up. So that's what I did. And I did theater for years and years and years. Met my wife doing theater, so that's wonderful.
Oh, awesome!
Too. And she's also part of the cast of Heroes of Extinction, Veronica Loud.
And how long have you guys been married?
We have been married almost 29 years.
Oh, wow, that's great! Congratulations!
She hasn't killed me yet. So, I'm a big guy. She's a small woman, and she won't be able to bury me in the backyard, and the kids won't be any help. So,
Well, yeah, and you've got the power of the dark side on your,
yeah,
under your
I
belt
don't
there.
think I don't think the force works on her.
No, okay. She's had a strong mind, huh?
Right. Yes.
I get that. I get that.
Mm-hmm.
So let's start diving into Heroes of Extinction. So
Yeah.
you are our narrator.
I
and
am.
you do a lot of talking in this
Yes.
in this series.
When I got brought on board for this, to help produce it and to direct it, I ended up. I think the creator of the show, Jerry Cornell, had suggested that I narrate it as well. I didn't realize at first that I would end up with more dialogue than anybody else in the show, because I got to tell everybody what they can't see. I've got to set the stage for everything.
Yep.
Fortunately, I do have a background in narration, so that's good.
Well, I can tell you from the table reads that we've done and everything that I've listened to so far, it's, I mean, and I know I've told you this off to the side before, but your job is critical and as the narrator, and it helps, especially for an audio show, to be able to set up a scene so that people who are reading dialogue in after you describe what's going on know exactly how they need to react. And that is so crucial to these types of stories. And it's been something that I know I probably could have done without, but it makes it so much easier, so much easier to actually really get into a scene when you have that kind of setup.
Well, good. That's my job as narrator, and that's my job as director, is to make it easier for the cast so that they can do what they need to do and what we cast them for.
Right.
And it's humbling, actually. I think you can't just say, "Oh yeah, I'm the narrator." It's like, no, it's like I'm really the, with great power comes great responsibility, and I have the responsibility of really setting the scene. It makes for some very long recording sessions, but also, when, like you said, when we do the table reads, it sets the stage for everyone else. They get to start to, when you read the script, and we have wonderful scripts by Samantha Albin, and they're fantastic scripts, real page turners, but at the same time, it doesn't really start to become real until you hear that narrator's voice, and it sets the stage. And then and I've seen this in the table reads as we get through them. Each table read that we do, which was, we get everybody together and we read through one of the episodes and everything. I can see everybody's adrenaline start to kick in as they're working on it. And so from the beginning of the table read to the end of the table read, it just gets better and better, because people just start, they start feeling it. And I think that's good, because that tells me, that's feedback to me too as narrator, because if I can engage the cast who has already read these scripts, who already knows this and have practiced this, hopefully they practiced it, then I know that I can connect with the audience too. And that's crucial.
So you've mentioned before, obviously we talked about you being the narrator, and you discussed being the director as well. And you have done some incredible coaching to everybody, as far as I remember, how to emphasize certain things or how to make them feel a certain way in order to pull across an emotion in part of the script. Does it make it easier for you to be the narrator, to be able to give that kind of direction, or does it really matter?
I think it does. I actually think it does, because I'm the narrator also. As a director, I would read through all the scripts anyway, but because I'm having to read and record the narration, I have to be just hyper aware of the whole scene. And so I know what I'm going to be doing, or what I've already recorded as the narrator. And I need to make sure that the actors, that their performance plugs into that it all dovetails together nicely. And so I do think that I have an advantage then as a director from having, from also being the narrator, that I have a greater connection with the story. I'm deeper into it there. And I'm able then to help and facilitate the actors to deliver the performance that we cast them for. And I don't know if my approach to casting and directing is unique, but for me, what I tried to do is I tried to find, and Jerry also, we've tried to find the right voice for the characters. Not so much like we're just going to cast, we're going to audition a whole bunch of people. I'm out there and I'm thinking, okay, here's the character. I know these characters. I've been reading the script over and over again. There's a voice out there. Who do I know that has that voice? And then that's what we bring in. That's what we've done for a lot of the guest characters that we have, for some of the secondary. Well, I don't want to say secondary, but the supporting characters.
Yeah, we have quite a lot of them too.
We got some great supporting actors in this.
And some that came on kind of late, and were at some big names too, some really great names. And I can't wait to see what everybody, what we have on board, and what people are going to be like. Oh my God, that's that person's voice.
Yeah,
get out of here.
Yeah, and it's and a lot of times it was like Samantha would just describe the characters to us, and Jerry and I would be listening to this, and either he or I would go, "Oh, I know the perfect guy for that. I know the perfect woman for that. This is going to be great." And so far, haven't been wrong. So
everything's congealed really well so far. So how did you and Jerry meet? I mean, I'm guessing it was at some kind of convention, because it seems to be how everybody sort of comes together for these projects. But when was it?
On the seedy dark side of town.
Yes, in a dark alley somewhere.
Yes. Yeah, no, it was at a convention. It was at the Stockton Con convention in Stockton, California. He had come out there to chat with me and hopefully interview me for one of his documentaries, and we just hit it off instantly. We just have a lot of the same interests and the same sensibilities on things, and it was just one of those things where we automatically clicked. And it was one of those things, it was my destiny to to meet him. So.
About how long ago was that?
1,000 years ago. I don't even remember how long ago.
Right?
Yeah. It just at this point, I don't remember a time when I didn't know him. That's how long it feels.
Okay.
Like. So yeah.
That's
in a good way. That's in a good way.
No, definitely. It's a compliment, because I've only known him for a couple of years now through a mutual friend. And it seems like, we all have a lot of common interests and passions. And it seemed when you have that kind of connection, it seems like you guys have been friends forever. So totally.
And I think that's one of the great things about Heroes of Extinction is that for this project, it's like everything has come together like it was meant to. It's like all these different people who shouldn't have met up have all come together. So it doesn't seem like it's a random or it's by happenstance or anything like that. This seems like it was all meant to be. And I think we're a really nice, tight-knit group too. We keep joking that Heroes of Extinction, the initials are, HOE, we're the Ho family, but it really is like family. And it makes the project better. It makes the project stronger, I think. I've been involved with productions where people don't like each other and people don't get along, and it's not good.
Yeah, you're the third person I've interviewed, but the first person that's actually brought up the acronym for the show.
Oh, there you go. That's our own little in-house acronym for it. Yeah.
Well, I'm sure others were going to figure it out at some point, but we'll let the audience figure how they want to figure it out. So have you ever been a narrator for any other actual shows, or was it for just audio recordings of
not for shows,
readings?
But I started when some of my earliest stuff was just learning narration for like television, local television, that sort of thing. Coming up next on the channel and that kind of thing. Station IDs, that sort of stuff, and phone trees and things like that. It was some of my earliest stuff. But I had learned just sort of, straight narration. This is a different beast because the narrator is almost another character in Heroes of Extinction, because the narrator represents the audience. The narrator has to be both the camera that doesn't really exist, showing you what the setting is, but also the narrator is the audience reacting to what is being quote unquote seen. And that's an interesting thing to do. And it's an interesting thing to play. So, because I'm not just in there saying, well, then this happened and then that happened and then this happened. I'm actually trying to exude the sort of the tension, the energy, the emotions that are going on in the scene in the show.
So there's definitely a degree of acting that you do as a narrator itself.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, I'm exhausted by the time I've finished recording each episode. The narration, it takes a lot out of you, just like any strong performance would. Really, and I just kind of have to sit and relax afterwards.
Well, especially if you put yourself in that scene strong enough, I guess it's like, I just fought a couple of mutants, and give me a minute.
And that's the truth. I'm fighting the mutants right along with True Strike and all the other characters. So
you're describing every single thing that they're doing, and that's I can understand how that could be tiring.
Otherwise, it's just dialogue and sound effects, and people don't know what's going on.
But it's so much more than that, so much more. So, speaking of which, we are going to go ahead and introduce a little bit of a clip here that is showcasing a little bit of your narration talent. Okay, and if you can remind me, like what we're actually going to play.
This is from episode 2 of Heroes of Extinction, and it's a scene near the end of the episode where two of our main characters are slugging it out. They are having a fight, a battle in an alleyway. And you would think that one of them is completely, outgunning the other one, but the other has something up her sleeve. So it's an exciting scene, and I had to try to make sure that the audience hears the excitement and they know what's going on, because things are happening fast. Knives are flying, lightning bolts are shooting, all kinds of things are happening in this.
Okay,
So-
now we don't need to play the clip because I think you've explained it all.
All right, there we go then.
All right, enough goofing around. You guys are in for a treat. Buckle up and roll the clip.
Janessa purses her lips and takes a fighting stance.
Let's see if this is adult enough for you.
She launches into attack mode, but the human blade is ready. She counters a series of punches and lands a solid strike to Janessa's chest. Janessa stumbles back and catches her balance as the human blade takes a couple of steps toward her.
That's cute. But face it, girlie, you'd be saving yourself a whole lot of humiliation if you just gave up Gabriel. Now tell me, where is he?
Janessa takes a deep breath and pushes herself up from the wall. Again, she throws herself into attack mode, this time using her height to her advantage, as she vaults off the side of the wall into an aerial kick, landing a strike directly into the stomach of the human blade. The human blade doubles over and gasps for air, and Janessa stands over her, her chin lifted in triumph.
Not so cute now, am I?
Janessa raises her arm up for a final blow, but the human blade is faster. Pulling a small knife from her inner boot, she flicks it toward the young woman. The razor-sharp knife flies through the air and catches the sleeve of Janessa's shirt, shifting her arm away. Janessa staggers backward, her other hand yanking the small weapon from her clothing. The human blade stands straight and withdraws a much larger sword from her waist. She holds the tip to Janessa's neck.
Wow, I mean, lots going on there.
Yeah.
Great
That's
description,
a big mouthful.
lots of
You gotta-
action. Yeah. I don't even know how it's amazing how this all comes together, especially considering the fact that all of this stuff has been taking place during a pandemic, and we've been
Right.
doing everything
Yeah.
remotely.
Yes.
And as a producer, you and Jerry have both been doing phenomenal jobs putting all this together
Yeah.
and making it seem like it was all done at once.
Yeah. And that's the thing too. Even my own narration isn't all done at once. And, I would love to say I'm a one-take wonder. For anybody out there who wants to hire me, I am a one-take wonder. But the honest truth is, no, I'm not. I flub my lines constantly. I'm also recording most of my stuff late in the evening after my wife and my offspring have gone to bed, and I'm out in my my recording studio, and you get a little punchy sometimes too late at night. What happens to me is that I'll start cracking up. I'll maybe mispronounce something, and then I get giddy, and then I'm giggling, and you can't giggle in the middle of an action scene like we just listened to, and yeah, the knife is flying. Okay, so. But then you have to pace yourself. And I think this is where I'm glad I have my theater training, because you're taught in theater how to project without, so that the back row can hear you without destroying your voice, without destroying your throat. And I'm doing a lot, as you could hear it in that clip, I'm doing a lot of just really excited stuff that if you're doing this take after take after take, you wear your throat down. So I've learned how to make it sound exciting and everything without just going full bore on my throat there. I will never be a heavy metal singer,
No,
but at least I can get that kind of projection. I don't know how some of those guys do it.
I don't either. I mean, people just have to have that natural rasp in their voice to be able to do stuff like that, as far as I'm concerned. And you're either born with it or you're not.
Yes.
Earlier, we were talking about how you and Jerry met at a convention, and I know you do quite a lot of them. I mean, there's not a moment that I don't see you on Facebook where you're off some weekend during some con.
Gallivanting across the country or across the world.
And you're one of your most recent ones, if I can mention it, was out in London that you were doing for a charity event. And you actually ran into some fans that seem to know a little bit about our upcoming show. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yes, I was in Coventry, England at this wonderful convention called CovCon, which is, supports different charities. In this particular case, they were supporting a charity called Maggie's, which is a cancer charity over there in the UK. Or one of the organizers of the show was Carolyn Monroe, actress Carolyn Monroe, who a lot of people know as a Bond girl. She was also in the wonderfully, deliciously awful Italian Star Wars ripoff called Star Crash. She was in Golden Voyage of Sinbad, and she's in, a lot of people know her from the Adamant music video Goody Two Shoes. So that was the reason I was going, is because I wanted to help the charity. But when I was there and all these different people coming to my table, and I had little flyers on my table to help promote Heroes of Extinction. And I'm sitting next to Isaac C. Singleton Jr., who is part of our cast, plays the character of Fractus. So the two of us are there, signing autographs for charity. And this couple comes up and is talking to me, and they know, a lot of my career and everything. And then I start to hand them one of the flyers to help promote the show of Heroes of Extinction. They go, "Oh no, we know, yeah, we're big fans already." And I was so dumbfounded that they knew about the show all the way over in the UK that I didn't even bother to ask, well, how did you find out? So,
yeah, I'm so curious to learn that myself.
Yeah.
I wish we would have known that.
My guess is it was probably, through the grapevine, friend of a friend, because as you know, we've done the conventions. Did the MouseCon convention, had a wonderful panel there. And I think that, and we also gave people there at the convention a link to the first episodes so that people could listen to it. And I think that's what happened. I think that link is sort of filtering around out there, and it got all the way to at least to the UK.
That's incredible. I mean, and first of all, thank you for going to do something like that and, sharing your time to help a great charity out like that. And for just being able to share the news that we're out there already and the show's not even actually technically publicly available yet.
Right. It's not officially released
We're still in
yet.
Post-production, really.
Yes.
So it's exciting to be a part of all of this and realize that regardless of, we're getting there, but we're not there yet, but people are waiting and they're excited and they're hyped about this. And I'm hyped. I can't wait for it to get released.
Every single person that I have talked to about Heroes of Extinction, when I go to these conventions, or just other actors that now are part of our cast and everything, every single one of them without fail has said, that is such a great idea. And it's interesting to think that it all started as something that's kind of keep us busy during the lockdown, and it has blossomed into this real honest to goodness bona fide production. And we are putting, our hearts and souls into this 110%, and it's showing. And that's why people want to listen to it. And that's why people are wanting to be involved in it. And nobody has said, nah, I'm not interested. Everybody has said that sounds so cool.
We even got some good crowd feedback from the last MouseCon that we did in Bakersfield. And there was, even despite the fact that it seemed like a smaller show than the one we did in Concord last year in November, it seemed like there was a lot more engagement and a lot more people echoing exactly what you just said, is that, wow, this is kind of refreshing. It's an audio show that I can just listen to. And we were even talking about this during one of my other interviews, saying that people can just listen to this in their car and they can, flip it on while they're, at the park or something like that.
Doing
or,
chores or things
exactly.
Like that. Yeah. You don't have to be planted down for 2 hours to watch a movie or something.
In front of a screen. Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's kind of refreshing. It's kind of refreshing to know that.
I think people like that. They need that. And the moment that I loved at the MouseCon in Bakersfield at our panel there was when we were coming near the end of the panel, and we had one more clip that we were playing clips, of the show. We had one more clip that we thought we could play. It's like, well, maybe we'll, maybe we won't, and we didn't want to, overstay our welcome. And we said, would you like to hear one more clip? And it was this thunderous yes from everybody. Yeah. And that's what's amazing and gratifying and humbling to hear that.
We've got a great family going here, and we've got even more in the works. So what can you say about some upcoming projects?
Well, I think the one thing that Jerry and I have in common is that we can't turn off the idea machine. We've got this idea machines in our head, and he and I have talked about this. And it's like, there are times when it's like, you go to sleep at night, you try to go to sleep at night, your head hits the pillow, and all of a sudden your brain goes, no, not yet. I got this idea. Here, listen to this. And it happens all the time. So we have quite a few other shows in development already, some that have already been written out and are now in the process of being cast, some others that are being written right now, and others that are being developed. So this is not going to be a one-off. Heroes of Extinction is not going to be a one-off. There will also be a season 2 of Heroes of Extinction. We are already working on that. And there's going to be more. I think we've got some very adventurous ideas for you people out there. So take a listen.
Can't wait to see what comes of it. That's fantastic. Now's the time to talk about anything that you want to talk about. Like, do you want to get anything that you want to plug, a website, anything that you got coming up as far as new shows or any other charitable events, or even anything that you do for charity in general? I mean, now's the time. You get websites, anything you'd like.
Well, if people want to find out more about me, if they're curious about that, they can go to my official website, which is candrewnelson.com. And that's my official website for all the crazy things that I do. And if you go to the events page on that website, you can find out where I'm going to be appearing, if I'm going to be at a convention or I'm going to be lecturing or anything like that. It's all on there. When I do these conventions, I'm always raising money for the Starlight Children's Foundation, because I would feel really weird if I was pocketing all the money myself. So
Okay.
I feel really icky. So I've been supporting Starlight Children's Foundation for years and years, since 2005, since my very first convention appearance. And if you want to find out about them, you can go to starlight.org. If you want to see what I'm doing when I'm not narrating these amazing stories or directing people or working on visual effects or anything like that, or voicing characters, you can go to my YouTube channel, which is called Aquatasy, 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 which is all about tropical fish, because that's the hobby that keeps me from going bonkers. Because, well, it's a crazy industry. If you're working in film or television or games or animation or even audio, but especially film and television, at any given moment, it feels like there is a multi-million-dollar production sitting on your shoulders, waiting for you to get your part of it done. The reality of it is, there really is a multi-million-dollar production sitting on your shoulders, waiting for you to get your part of it done. And that's a lot of pressure. So I chill out by having fish tanks. It's been my obsessive hobby since I was a child. And I kind of fell into having a YouTube channel about it.
Well, this has been a lot of fun, and I got to thank you for taking some time off today to answer all my questions about this amazing show and about your history. Thank you so much. And it was so easy. I mean, I know we've talked before, and we've gotten to know each other a little bit over the last couple of years, and I got to say, I'm happy to know you, Andrew, and I look forward to what the future holds for all of us as a family.
Me too.
Yeah. Thank you. Awesome. Great.
Force is strong with you.
Thank you so much. All right. Well, that's about it we got for today, guys. So I'd like to thank you again, Andrew, for being my guest on today's show. Great pleasure as always. We'll be catching up with you again in the future on additional projects to come. So many spoilers I want to give away, but I can't. But we'll save that for another time. Thanks for listening, everybody. We'll hope to see you again on another episode of The Lowdown at the Down Low. Take care.
All great stories begin with adventurous ideas.